All right, Libra. So we're going to go to the heart of the reading first. And I do think, I'm going to go ahead and include the past position in this because I think they tie in very nicely. Because, what I think has happened here in the past, right? We have this man looking, at the praying mantis, surrounded by the cherry blossoms, right? And I feel like this is where you've found your center, where you found your safe place, right? You found that kind of nectar within, right? Because this maturity card, this Ace of Rainbows here, we see the Ouroboros, and we see this figure, which could be masculine or feminine. I love that. Filled with flowers, filled with that nectar of life. And so I feel like you've found how to, kind of return to that space. Right? Finding the beauty in things, finding the beauty in yourself, right? And so now, you can return to that center over and over again, right? This is very grounded energy. And we've got Virgo, we've got the Ace of Pentacles right in the heart of this reading, and surrounding it is a lot of fire. So it's a good thing that you have this here. I'm like back and forth on whether all this fire is a possibility, especially during this first week of, there's the blow up, right? Because we have this 10 of fire here. And if it happens, it's okay. Afterwards, return to center, right? But I think the biggest way that we can handle that is, because we have this suppression here, and I do trust that because, I feel like the reason that we suppress some of our thoughts or our ideas, our needs, right, is because we don't quite feel worthy enough, right? And, Virgo, that time to give rather than receive came out. But if you, depending on where you are on the giving and taking end of the spectrum, right? Libras are one of those signs that tends to overgive, to sacrifice. So have you? Is that maybe, part of this past that's holding you back? Is there something that you need to express? Is there, whatever it may be, that is how we're going to be able to bypass the holiday blow up is by going ahead and expressing that. And of course, if that's with somebody that, is likely to blow up, there might be one anyway, but at least I think if you go into it ready for it, it makes a difference, right? So, but what you're consciously moving towards is harmony, right? And this has got two of these dolphins here, which once again, is mimicking this soulmate. And, your heart is connecting with that third eye. And I am pulled to this crow here. That was a cat. So I feel like, you keep returning to this space, and I'm just like a little bit in awe of that. And it might not be easy, right? Your commitment is being tested. So it might not be easy to return to that space. It might not be easy to move towards this soulmate, right? Might be not be easy. It might be that there's, this suppression is that there's last degrees of Capricorn, or that last degree of Capricorn. You know, we have Jupiter and Saturn both moving to Aquarius during this time, during this second week. So this first week, you know, Mars is direct, it's moving, it wants to make things happen. But those planets in Capricorn are like, not yet, right? But you're persevering, and I think that you are able to find this center again and again. And, you know, this, well, we'll go here to the below. And of course, can't quite do it without this in the mix. You know, you're more passive. Your subconscious is on the more passive side of things, right? But I also feel like, you know, this is you thinking about this soulmate, right? And this desire to move past these things that are holding you back, right? There is this desire, I think, to, part of that past is how we've been rather isolated, right? Because she's a social person. Libra is a social person. So I think there's this desire to participate again, right? To celebrate. And it looks like it's in the future here. This is in the earth element. So, you know, and he's got this ball of light here, right? This solar plexus chakra really lit up, you know, and we've got this fire all over it, right? It's in your subconscious. It's here in the fire element, which I think is very much about connecting with spirit, right? You're connecting with spirit all over the place here. And the fire element is about spirit. So, you know, but this is very creative energy, right? You might be starting a new project here as well. You know, the initial stages of it, I think, because once again, we have this suppression, and I'm getting, you know, yes, that you're feeling kind of held back from action, even though you've got this belly full of fire, this desire to move forward. We're kind of, being held back for right now, but we, you know, you're very grounded. You keep coming back to this center and this trust, right? We're kind of sitting on this idea, this project, this, whatever this is, this love, everything is contained in this globe here. And you're just sitting on it, looking to the future, waiting for the right time to take off. Right, and there's this going deep. Ah, beautiful. We've got the snake underneath that. Wow. Lots of really creative energy here. Beautiful energy underlying, right? This is, the snake represents, and we see it's an Ouroboros again. This magic waiting to be released, right? There are gifts that you've yet to reveal yet. I mean, this zebra is, you know, visionary, creative, fun, right? And this octopus, it's taking in things from, you know, it's like sensing things in so many different ways. Like you're taking in everything in your environment and processing it all. And that wonderful Libra brain. And it keeps going, but I'm not going to go into it. But, right, we see this light bursting forth here and this well bursting. Right, it's like you've been going deep. You've been going deep, and it's showing. You've been doing the work, Libra. And it's beautiful energy. And even with this suppression card, even if there is a little blow up here, right? It's leading to, you know, you're going to be able to come back to this space And this next week is really beautiful, beautiful energy. And this is the week of that new moon eclipse, that solar eclipse on Monday of this week. And, you know, these two energies together, it's just, you know, this is your water element. This is where your emotions, interactions with people, and it's just really harmonious and beautiful. You know, and we see this storm blowing, right? It's like no matter what comes your way, you're able to return to this center over and over again, right? And I see it here too, right? It's in this little globe. You've got a hold of it now. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. And I see this as, yes, there's this soulmate, twin flame, right? Whatever you resonate with, but this counterpart here. And, you know, I don't necessarily see you, I mean, there could be a move, but I feel like this slowing down, this night of rainbows in the future. You know, he's looking towards it. He's all lit up with this rainbow energy, right? And I think you might be making a move towards it in the future. I think right now, I think you're connecting with people. There is, you know, celebration, right? We are going to be celebrating Christmas. And there might be some contact with this soulmate, but I just feel it's really lovely energy. I feel more spirit. I feel more like you're sitting on it for the most part, right? Because of this suppression here. You're connecting with them in the subconscious. Or you can, right? But I'm just, you know, I keep looking at how this moves through this right here, right? We've got this creator, and he manifests, right? This is manifestation. He is the creator. And, you know, we see this Ace of Pentacles here, and then this Four of Fire here. And it's just like, you know, you're really creating what you're imagining. This center, you know, as far as feelings go, at least at this point, right? That's how it starts out. And the more we can return to that, the more we can create. Then in the future, we have this night of rainbows. And I think that, you know, even though there's this suppression, there's this desire to move forward, there's this desire, to move fast, possibly. I think that you're realizing that, you know, to take the smaller steps, right? The turtle in the hair comes to mind. And I'm just looking at this rainbow energy radiating out in front of this turtle. And I feel like that's you, right? Just really starting to radiate, and that attracts things to you, right? You don't have to move as fast. Okay. There's a kitty weighing in. But there is, you know, we have this full moon in Virgo, the South Node, the 10 here. This is a 10. There's definitely something closing out, right? There's something that's being released, whether that's physically, mentally, whatever it may be, right? And then this new start. Okay. Yeah, even this never-ending story here. It's that closing out. And I feel like it's karmic. Right? And that's what also makes me feel like there might be something fiery and explosive here. It'll be all right if it is, okay? Because it's completely surrounded by beautiful energy. Okay. Let's get a piece of art for Libra, December 7th through the 20th. Here to the right. Christ appearing to St. Peter on the Appian Way. You know, this is that kind of sacrifice energy. And he's kind of, you know, taken aback. And I feel like this is kind of like that message. I get it for Cancer sometimes because they can be a bit of a martyr, right? And I feel like this is saying, you know, are your sacrifices really appreciated, right? This is kind of like this, you know, because when we sacrifice too much, it does tend to, you know, I think about people that say, I'm sorry too much. You know, I've had friends that, you know, and it's not that there's anything wrong with that, but it kind of gives off this weird vibe. It makes people uncomfortable for some reason. At any rate. I feel like this is a warning against being too giving of yourself, right? And then we have the metaphysical muse across the way. And this is, you know, traveling within, you know, and that's where you're going to find, you know, it's like these unmarked territories are where the target is, where you're going to find your answers. Interesting. I still can't quite figure out why she's playing in a tennis outfit. This came up only one time before for Pisces. This might be some of that kind of like confusion too that's going on, right? Pisces is part of this, that Neptune in Pisces is part of the Grand Cross. Ah, the Grand Cross. Interesting. Definitely think that's part of it. Your commitment is being tested, right? You might feel like this. You might feel like people have this aversion to you. I can relate. But it's just part of this test. Ah, look here. There's a cross here too. Just noticed. So yeah, that Grand Cross is playing out big